And what about the current Marathon employees and art team that literally follow the artist on this app? I don't know who this guy is. I'm going to follow this guy. I like this guy. I have no idea who this guy's. Bro, fucking based.
This is me reacting to Asmongold reacting to me. Welcome to content in 2025.
Oh, no. Wait, they're actually going to go live on the main account. And it's in an hour? Oh, they're going to have to cancel this shit, right? They have to. Yeah, point is, canceling this shit of a project is their only scenario of, hey, boss, we only lost 60 million on this.
Hey, boss, we only lost 60 million is diabolical.
This one. The funny thing is that there's a good chance that it would probably be better than if they had released it. Oh, yeah, it's live today. They did the last one, BCD. My mistake. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. I did not realize that today was a content day. Oh.
The content dropped today. I feel like Bungie probably should have canceled this live stream considering everything that happened, or at least just turned it into a, you know, damage control live stream where they only talked about the issue with the art theft.
Shit. Today is a content day. Okay, well, I guess now we should talk about it, right? Because I didn't even know this was going on. So let's go ahead and get into it. Tax write-off, yes, I guess so. And as a loss. And this will probably be this will be a carryover loss. Not so good. And what was the tweet? So yesterday there was some news, and also huge shout out. The article I think is paywalled, but I think this guy does good work. Gene Park did an interview with the actual person who was basically had their art stolen, right?
I read this article. This is actually a very good article. It is behind a small paywall, but it had some really good insights because this artist has actually had their work stolen from them several times from several other companies as well. So they have a very frustrating experience within the industry of people kind of seeing their work on Twitter or on Pinterest and then basically just mood boarding it or literally one-to-one copying it. So definitely frustrating for them, and they've had a very, you know, tumultuous history with social media and companies and video game companies taking their stuff. It just happened to be that Marathon was kind of the cherry on the cake, right? The cherry on the shit cake in this situation.
Right. Artist uses PlayStation game of lifting her work. Studio admits to an oversight. I'll link you guys his tweet, right? And I'm not going to try to, like, you know, bypass it or whatever. You know, I think he deserves a little bit of support. I like Gene, and so I'll link you guys his tweet if you want to look at it or whatever. But basically, he interviewed Anti-Real, who is the person who had their artwork stolen. And this is the indie artist from Scotland who discovered and later Bungie admitted the unauthorized use of her work in Marathon. And so she felt uneasy during the announcement in 2023, but the alpha release confirmed her suspicion. So anyway, so Gene did this whole thing. Thank you very much for Anti-Real for taking the time for chat with me. And so anyway, this is the person. So for anybody who missed out on what happened here, is that there was an artist that was on Twitter, and these were things made in 2017 that this artist made. And these things were not inspired by, they were directly copy pasted by Bungie.
Control C, Control V, straight out of their portfolio. In fact, even if you look at the assets that were copied, if you just look at their whole portfolio in general from the artist, it looks exactly like what Marathon is. So even though not if you don't go one for one with each and every detail, you can just look at the general art scheme and tell kind of where this all kind of came from. And it's not that this artist invented this whole style, because, you know, these art styles have been around for a while to some degree, but the tone, the texture, the color scheme, so many details look very, very close to Marathon, right? And you can compare it to other games in the past. I think they even referenced a game, Wave Runner. It has a similar style as well, but not to this degree. I mean, it's a very, very close degree when you look at their portfolio, the artist portfolio compared to Marathon.
Like, I'm talking about, let's get down to the pixels, all right? That is in Marathon. That is the Twitter artist's art. That's the same thing. That's it. It wasn't Bungie, it was just a single guy. Well, no, I mean, there's a process, there's a, like a process of things that go through this. And also, honestly, I wish they had stolen somebody's ideas for character design. Maybe the game.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Would have looked better. But anyway, of course, Bungie's not obligated to hire me for making a game. Oh, this is what I said about it, right? And I tweeted about this earlier. Let me see if I can pull it up, what I said. And yeah, Pirate Software said it was the 4th time Bungie was caught doing like shit like this. Yeah.
Yes, this is the fourth time that they've been involved in a sort of art plagiarism type of scandal. 3 of those times were in Destiny 2, and then this fourth one now would be Marathon.
I didn't know it was the fourth time, but I knew it wasn't the first. And after looking at the references, it's obvious that this was directly copied. Embarrassing for Bungie. They should at least give the artist a few hundred K, and at least, and honestly, they should hire the artist and fire whatever clowns they have working there now.
Honestly, that is a very fair opinion, and that would be the best PR move for Bungie right now, because moving forward with Marathon, with this general art direction, they're going to have this looming cloud over them of like, you guys are art thefts, right? Everyone's saying right now it's Arc Raiders, the game, versus Art Raiders, and it's like trending right now. So the only way you dissolve that is by hiring the individual and making them like lead art, you know, director, something like that. Like that would be best case scenario for Bungie. And without that, honestly, I don't even know how Marathon moves forward.
That's honestly what my viewpoint is on it. And so Marathon is going to be going live in less than an hour. So, I mean, they've got to roach out of this, right? Like they have to roach out.
They should have roached out.
There's no way they go live and they just talk about the game. They have to roach out. No.
Then obviously they went live and they did a mixture of talking about the game and the drama.
Let them double down. It's probably created with AI. No, AI creates amalgamations. It doesn't create one-to-ones. Like, it's just, that's not what happens. Like, I mean, yeah, sure, maybe if you do AI and you ask for something super specific, it can do something that's like very similar to, I don't know, maybe like a popular TV show or something like that. But yeah, this was not AI. And so Marathon actually responded to this. This is a good point. Marathon responded to this themselves. And so artist accuses Bungie of stealing her designs from, I'm tired of designers from huge companies mood boarding and parasiting my designs while I struggle to make a living. And so anyway, there has been an update as well. Bungie has made a statement about this issue. And so there are multiple designs used, not only in like fan art and promotional art, but actual in-game assets as well. And so Bungie made a statement about this. Let's take a look at it. We'll read this statement. We immediately investigated a concern regarding unauthorized use of an artist's decals in Marathon and confirmed that a former Bungie artist included these in a texture sheet that was ultimately used in-game. Well, there it is, gentlemen. There it is. Now we know. Wow.
The part that's a little bit interesting about this is that usually when you're trying to do an investigation, especially on something this important, and you, as they even said, they have hundreds of artists that work at Bungie, you want to do a thorough investigation. So this news story dropped earlier the very same day, and then they already tweeted out saying that they did an internal investigation. They already came to a full conclusion, which is a little bit rushed. It might have been a little bit premature. And in fact, from some of the evidence and some of the, you know, community narratives, and you're going to see my tweet here in just a minute, it would seem as though it was a premature investigation to some degree. Like maybe they wanted to pin it on one person individually and say that they were a former Bungie artist. Either they got fired this very day, or they got fired or laid off in the past with the 2 waves of layoffs. But it seemed like they wanted to very quickly get ahead of this, as it was already #1 trending and it was gaining so much traction. They didn't want to fall too far behind on it. But it does feel a little bit rushed because, like I said, there's meant to be hundreds, as from their own words, from their own mouths during live stream, there's hundreds of artists. So to actually be able to vet all of that, right? Not just the one artist that they're you know, scapegoating on right now, but not just one artist, but any others that were aware of this, or any ones that were involved in the team, or how many people there were involved with this, right? You'd want to be thorough with this, because if they have to come out again and say, okay, it was more than one artist and we kind of rushed our first investigation, it's going to be a really bad look. And I think a lot of people are leaning towards that way, especially when you see that the art team follows this niche and small artists, right?
And also the thing is that they could have fired this person immediately and then said former. There's a good chance that this person maybe was still working there at that period of time. And then after this was discovered, they were fired as a result of this. And that way they could say former as to separate guilt.
Imagine how awkward it would be if you're inside Bungie studios and you're sitting around, you know, working on Marathon. You're talking about, you know, the alpha, you know, feedback. You're talking about the art. And then this story drops, and then they, you know, they check, you know, who added these exact graphics, who added these decals, and you look around the boardroom and you look over and there's fucking Jerry sitting over there, and you're just looking like, the fuck, Jerry? You're out of here. You just get fired on the spot, everyone looking at you, you know, like if it was the same day, right? You get fired in office, right? Who knows if that was the exact situation or if it was someone from the layoffs. Bungie's never going to come forward and say who it was. I think there's probably legal reasons why they can't do it, but definitely a very interesting result from all of this, I would say.
Right? I think that's probably what happened. Yes, they're former as of 1 hour ago. And the issue is unknown by our existing art team, and we are still reviewing how this oversight occurred.
So there it is. We're still reviewing how this oversight occurred, right? But they have, even though they're still in the process of reviewing it and scrubbing things, they're convinced that it is just one singular person. And I think that kind of minimizes it as much as possible, so that way they're not be admitting as much guilt as there might actually be here. Because I do think that there's more to this story, it would seem at least, and we'll get to that in just a moment here.
We will take matters like this very seriously. We reached out to Anti-Real to discuss this issue, and we are committed by doing right by the artists. As a matter of policy, we do not use the work of other artists without their permission. Well, except for the other times that they did that, but
not only except the other times that they did that, but also it's not just a matter of policy to not use the work of artists without their permission. It's a matter of law. Like, you legally cannot do that. You can't just take other artists' work and then put it in a video game and monetize it, right? Like, this is illegal practice, okay? You can't just be like, hey, we're the good guys, you know? We kind of have a policy around here, you know, where we, you know, we don't steal people's art, you know? It's like, obviously you have that. It's illegal.
besides that, besides the other times that this happened, they don't do this. Usually they don't do this. I mean, sometimes they do it, but they don't usually do it, okay?
And to be fair, and to not, you know, throw too many punches at Bungie here, the other times were significantly less egregious than this one. This one is obviously, this one is one for the record books. But the previous times, you know, you have the nerf ace of spades, you have the person that uploaded something to the Bungie.net forums and they weren't given any accreditation. You have a few different, you know, they're a little more nuanced in the previous sort of art theft scandals with Bungie, right? This one is very different, though. This one is a whole nother category of its own.
And so how many times to repeat this? Well, Thor said it was 4 times. I thought it was 2 or 3, but I mean, he probably kept up with it better than I did. So yeah, maybe it's 4. And I'd probably trust him because I haven't kept up with it as much. To prevent similar issues in the future, we are conducting a thorough review of our in-game assets, specifically those done by the former Bungie artists, and implementing stricter checks to document all artist contributions. We value the creativity and dedication of all artists who contribute to our games, and we are committed to doing right by them. Thank you for bringing this to our attention. And what about the current Marathon employees and art team that literally follow the artist on this app? I don't know who this guy is. I'm going to follow this guy. I like this guy. I have no idea who this guy's. Bro, fucking based. So fucking based. Exactly. Read what he's saying. What about the current Marathon employees and the art team that all literally follow the artist on this app? Your whole art team follows the artist that's been developing this art style for 10 years, and you didn't think to give them any attribution. This isn't an oopsie you can blame on a former employee. Your current employees follow this small artist with a niche style, and then you just coincidentally happen to launch an entire game themed after it? Not buying it. Bro, fucking based. Let me see if I can find the post that this person made too, and look into it. And so how many followers does this individual have? They have 30,000 followers. And I would assume
at the time that this entire thing blew up, I believe they had around like 8,000, 9,000 followers. So it's grown their channel quite a bit, or grown their Twitter at least, you know, like their influence has grown a lot. And they had a donation link there, and a lot of people have donated to support them as well, because they obviously talked about how this has happened to them multiple times. They've had their stuff stolen in various different instances, and even in this instance they don't have the money to hire lawyers to handle this with Bungie, and so it's frustrating for them. You know, they're a small solo like indie artist that's basically had their work stolen from various different sources, from their, whether it's from their Pinterest or from their Twitter or whatever it is, and it's frustrating for them. They're literally claim they're unemployed and everything. So like, the community has spoken up, and they've gained 20,000 plus followers in a day, and thousands and thousands of donations, which is pretty cool. It's cool to see the community rally behind something positive towards this individual, because they deserve it. Obviously, their art, whether you like Marathon art or not, their art was impressive enough for Bungie to see it and follow them, and at least take inspiration, if not literally strip the assets, like some of them, if not more than some of them, to create Marathon in general.
They probably have had a massive influx recently. They probably had 20,000. Maybe like I don't know, maybe like 15, 25.
Yeah, he goes on to actually look into it. It's around like 8 or 9,000. But honestly, when it comes to how Bungie resolves something like this, if I'm being real, if I'm Pete Parsons, if I'm in the highest position at Bungie, what I'm thinking you do is you take Anti-Real here and you take them out to the nicest dinner possible. You fly them out to Seattle, go to the nicest 5-star Michelin star hotel or restaurant you can possibly find. You give them the grandiose treatment, right? You get them that tomahawk steak, you know, where the one where they sprinkle the salt like this to go with that, and it's got the gold flakes on and everything. And then after dinner's done, all right, you slide over a blank check and you say, just write anything you need, just anything, please, like, so that we can make this go away, please. Because without that, without Anti-Real actually coming onto the Marathon team, I find it very hard that Bungie will be able to move forward with this game because of how much bad press is going on with this. This is a really, really bad look for Bungie. I think the only way that Marathon as a game recovers from this is by putting them onto the team. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Later.